Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to take you through the insanity of the Warhammer 40k universe, a place where genocide is not only acceptable, but a recommended strategy. Race wars are a common, casual occurrence, and bloodthirsty, illiterate orcs are the least of your troubles as you work yourself to death in service of the Imperium. You may be born a superhuman soldier, anointed by the celestial beings that ushered mankind into glory, or as a working class dog that must serve life sentences in the Manufactorum while bearing military conscription for the salvation of mankind. I have a question for you. Would you rather be an 8 feet tall gigachad with a very important organ, or a below average human man that serves as expendable cannon fodder? Don't answer. It doesn't matter. You're still going to be murdered or, worse, in the wonderful world of the 40k universe. Until that moment comes, I want you to slice and dice your enemies and exterminate dissenting humans as they call you prune for not wanting to be pet buddies with demons. Space Marine is a third-person shooter developed by Relic Entertainment, creators of the Dawn of War and Company of Heroes series, authors of the esteemed Dawn of War 3 and Company of Heroes 2 Faction Edition. You play as a superhuman zealot trying to save measly humans from absolute extinction at the hands of an Orc. Most of what you will end up doing is fighting the enemies of humanity with a varied arsenal of weapons as you uncover the true reason of such mindless and enjoyable violence. But before we get to that, there's a story to tell. A weird group of aliens are trying to kill our working class slaves. The orcs are waging war on a forge world belonging to the Imperium of mankind. The forge world being a planet where large parts of manufacturing take place. Imagine waking up every day very close to your job, but along the way there is a possibility of getting possessed by a demon or eaten alive by the local fauna. It's a horrible place that's on its way to hell. You play as Titus, a captain in the Space Marines chapter of Ultramarines that is commanding his company in defense of Greya, as extermination was not considered for its valuable resources and research. You make your way to the surviving contingent of Imperial Guard after killing dozens of orcs and meet Lieutenant Mira, the only female character in the game, an absolute bombshell of a soldier. I must be honest. The sight of a woman must be a relief on the soul, as I was understanding what it is not to understand if you are alive or walking through hell when I visited New York. Lieutenant Mira serves as eye candy for the most part, as she mostly drives the initial interactions with the defense of the world, working as a background character for most of the story and in such an extension of the world. I forgot to mention Leandrus and Sidonius. These are side characters that aid you in the battle for Greya. There's nothing more to say about them. They're just good buddies. You eventually discover the coveted and transparent Inquisition is present in the planet. You make your way to Drogon, an Inquisitor desperate to safeguard secrets and weapons in the Forge world. He reveals the knowledge of a powerful weapon that can wipe out the Orc invasion. You decide to help, but get intercepted by Daddy Grimskull, leader of the Orc. Titus manages to survive an explosion caused by Grimskull's interference. The Marines manage to escape and power the weapon. They make their way to the power core that gives energy to the Spire, and after some orcs are dealt with, the Spire is powered. But instead of wiping the orcs out, demons arrive on the planet. And if that wasn't enough, Drogon reveals himself to be an agent of chaos. The Chaos Sorcerer Nemeroff appears. He finishes Drogon and overpowers the Ultramarines with his abilities, but Titus seems to be resistant to the warp. Now your mission is to stop the Chaos threat in Greya. Titus manages to power up the Titan in the Manufactorum and blow up the Spire. However, Nemeroff and his army are still in the planet. You defeat legions of chaos and finally catch up to Nemeroff and fight him. You defeat him in an anticlimactic battle of quick-time events and defeat the Chaos forces, saving the planet. In the end, you are also accused by heresy by the fact that a returning resistance to the warp is present. You are arrested by the Inquisition and relieved of your duties. There isn't much to say when it comes to the story, but it brings into question the value of duty and traditions, while providing sufficient conflict in order to question the long-standing use in its current and varied environment. You could save many by accusing someone of bad intent or probability, but what if you save more with understanding and discourse about the issues? But maybe they're not related, and your correlation is a mere manifestation of your biases. I don't think the story is bad, but it needed more work on the dialogue department. Maybe a couple of rewrites, and it would have been great. Gameplay. This is the real meat of the pie. Space Marine achieves a synergy between shooting and close quarter battles rarely seen in games at all, with most of the games attempting this becoming a mess of sorts, only enjoyed by the undesirables of society. Taking advantage of the insane lore behind this universe, the combat reflects the human condition at its best. by allowing you to paint the soil red with the blood of your enemies and celebrate their demise. You have an outstandingly varied arsenal. Weapons are made to create absolute problems to your adversaries, and we start with the bolter. The bolter, also called the bolt gun, and its variants are some of the most powerful handheld ballistic anti-personnel weaponry in use by the military forces of the Imperium of Man. It is a powerful assault weapon that fires explosive kinetic rounds, colloquially referred to as bolts. To put this into perspective, imagine carrying a 50 caliber Barrett sniper with burst fire capability as your handgun, and another bigger one as your designated weapon. The weapons are extremely powerful, but your enemies are also exceptionally strong and numerous. You eventually get a Starker bolter, the equivalent of a 50 caliber marksman rifle, and proceed to use it for the rest of the game and ignore a majority of the other equally destructive but less strategically sound weapons. Why, you ask? Good. Space Marine may seem like your typical action game with shooting elements in order to satiate contemporary design standards, but you're wrong. Dead wrong. Shooting is the only way to keep yourself alive in the game. Enemies cannot be parried or blocked. You need to handle your melee battles well and precise, or you're going to get pummeled and killed by a group of 5 orcs in a matter of seconds. This means making good use of your weapons and its limited ammunition is essential to the survival of your Space Marine. This same sentiment is available for the melee weapons. You start with a standard issue combat knife and rapidly get introduced to the chainsword and keep getting more and more after that. The game is always introducing new variants to combat and giving you more options to survive. You must use ranged weapons to an exceptional degree and finish off the enemies based on their skill set and the possibility based on the context you're fighting in. The temptation to use guns with ranged enemies exclusively is strong, but having a measured approach to the slaughter you produce is tactically sound and satisfying. It's the orcs' mistake for charging at you without cover. Use this to your advantage the same way the Germans did in World War I, or as the Imperial Japanese Army in the Satsuma Rebellion, slaughtering thousands of honorable samurai. In short time, you will understand what is best dependent on the enemy and the space you must fight in. Just make sure you take your defeats as learning experiences and not as declarations of your inferiority complexes. Health is a commodity in the 40k universe, and restoring your vitality is quite the resource, as you either need to execute a stunned enemy, by which you can be killed through the animation, or engage in Fury mode, where your health regenerates and your attack breaks through every enemy in the game, but you can still get killed easily. Your enemies can wither your vitality quite easily, so keep your distance and use stunning frequently. It will save you more times than you can count, as every battle or enemy can kill you quite easy. The balance of the system is exceptional in design and execution. You're always vulnerable but capable enough to dispatch the hordes of orc and chaos enemies coming at you. Trial and error will get you from dying and losing ammunition to expertly disposing of inferior enemies with absolute domination. I believe it's a blast to play, and it's exceptionally replayable. Conclusions. Space Marine is one of the greatest unexpected gaming experiences I have ever had. The term hidden gem couldn't be more appropriate for this title. The story is nothing special, but it's still competent, and gameplay is superb and engaging consistently. I want this game to be more popular than it already is. The 40k universe deserves more attention. The lore, characters, and genre-defining games that have come out of it are exceptional works of art. It usually goes for cheap on Steam, and it more than makes up for it at bottom price. It may be a short game, but it's definitely a great one. Guys, thank you for watching the video. Like, subscribe, and click the notification bell for further videos. Also, comment if you enjoyed this new style of video, and until next time, God bless you.